Now, the South Plains first news in high definition. This is KCBD News Channel 11 at 10.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Christy is in for Karen, who is off tonight.
A highly anticipated trial gets underway here in Lubbock tomorrow. Amarillo plastic surgeon Thomas Dixon is charged with capital murder. He's accused in the death of well-known Lubbock doctor Joseph Saunier.
The Covenant chief pathologist was found dead in July of 2012 in what police say was a murder-for-hire plot. Tomorrow, attorneys will begin choosing a jury to hear the case, and it's expected to be a lengthy process.
KCBD News Channel 11's Alex Zielinski is live in Saunier's former neighborhood where the investigation all started. Alex.
Well, Christy and Abner, it began with the discovery of a broken window at Saunier's home here on 21st near Toledo and a frantic call to police. And when they arrived, they found Dr. Saunier dead. Now, Shepard has been brought back to Lubbock from prison in South Texas so he can testify in this trial. He is currently being held at the Lubbock County Detention Center, which is also where Dixon remains tonight. Now, if Dr. Dixon is found guilty, he faces a maximum sentence of life in prison without parole. Christy and Abner.
Okay, thanks, Alex.
911, what is your emergency?
Yes, we got some dogs that attacked us. And we got a woman that's hurt real bad. She's cut up. I mean, they've chewed her up for good.
This frantic 911 call just released today brought police to the scene of a brutal dog attack in North Lubbock on Saturday. Authorities responded to the Acacia Mobile Home Park across from Cavazos Middle School just after 7 o'clock that morning. When they arrived, police shot and killed 2 pit bull terrier mixes so they could get to the victims and discovered a man and a woman with bite and scratch marks on their bodies. Police say the woman was taking out her trash when the dogs attacked. The man tried to save her, but police say the dogs attacked him too.
They might not be, mean to the owner, but those dogs, I don't know if they were trained to be mean or something, but they shouldn't have been that aggressive to somebody.
If the owner of the dogs are found, they could face severe fines and possible jail time.
The search continues tonight for the man police say robbed a Central Lubbock gas station at gunpoint last month. This surveillance photo was taken at the Valero at 50th and Avenue U back on September 29th. Police say this man pointed a gun at an employee and demanded cash. He was gone before police arrived. If you think you might know who this man is, call Crime Line. That number is 741-1000.
Well, the rain has moved out of our area tonight, but we could see another round come tomorrow.
Kerry is in for John tonight. He has the latest outlook from the First Alert Forecast Center. Kerry?
Well, it looks like we do have still a chance of showers in our forecast for tomorrow, but most of the activity we had earlier has diminished. So we'll look at Doppler radar and we'll show you what's taking place out there tonight. We'll take a look at your complete 7-day forecast that is coming your way in just a couple of minutes. Abner and Christy.
Okay, thanks so much, Gary. We're tracking new developments in the ongoing fight against Ebola. The CDC released new guidelines tonight for health workers treating patients with that deadly virus. Health officials are now calling for face shields, hoods, boot covers, and any other garment that ensures no part of the body is exposed. They're also calling for a trained monitor. This person would supervise the workers as they put on and take off that protective gear.
Tonight's announcement comes just hours after 43 people in Dallas reached the end of their quarantine period. All of them had some form of contact with Ebola patient Thomas Duncan, who died about 2 weeks ago in a Dallas hospital. The group reached the 21-day incubation period at midnight. Health officials say they are all symptom-free.
It's a milestone day. It's a hurdle that we need to get over, but there are other hurdles to also jump.
Experts say the end of their quarantine supports what health officials have been saying, that the disease is not easily spread. They want to remind everyone that Ebola spreads by contact with bodily fluids like saliva, diarrhea, and vomit. And a quick update on the 2 Dallas nurses who were infected with Ebola while caring for Duncan. We're told Nina Pham and Amber Vinson are both in stable condition tonight.
Now to an update on the fight against ISIS. While the U.S.-led air campaign continues over the Syrian border town of Kobani, it now includes airdrops of supplies. White House officials say the U.S. military is now dropping off guns, ammunition, and medical supplies to the town. ISIS militants have had a stronghold over Kobani for over a month now. Secretary of State John Kerry says the U.S. decided to help out the Kurds in the region because the situation was deemed a crisis moment.
It would be irresponsible of us, as well as morally very difficult, to turn your back on a community fighting ISIL as hard as it is.
So far, the U.S. has launched more than 140 airstrikes on Kobani.
In northwest Indiana tonight, police believe they may have a serial killer in custody. Darren Vann is behind bars, charged in the strangulation death of 19-year-old Africa Hardy. Police found her body Friday night at a motel in the town of Hammond. Investigators say Hardy was a prostitute and had arranged to meet Vann at the motel through a website. Officers arrested Vann on Saturday. Then today, police say Vann confessed to killing Hardy and told investigators where more bodies could be found. Police then found the bodies of 6 other women in 5 abandoned houses in the nearby city of Gary.
He preyed on individuals that might be less likely to be reported missing.
Vann, who is a convicted sex offender and has a criminal history here in Texas, told them he has killed others over the past 20 years. Gary is a once thriving steel mill city where there are now 10,000 abandoned buildings.
The man suspected of abducting a University of Virginia student last month is now indicted for an unrelated crime nearly a decade ago. 32-year-old Jesse Matthew Jr. is now charged in connection with a sexual assault that happened in 2005. Authorities there haven't said what led to this indictment 9 years after the crime. Investigators also believe Matthew abducted college student Hannah Graham, who was last seen on September 13th of this year. They say he was seen in surveillance video walking with Graham shortly before her disappearance. The medical examiner is now testing remains discovered Saturday to see if they are Graham's.
Back here at home, the Red Raiders saw a much-needed homecoming win over Kansas on Saturday. But that's not what was on the minds of many folks who attended the team's news conference today.
Sports Director Pete Christie was there as head coach Cliff Kingsbury talked about the weekend incident that injured Tech player Jakeem Grant. Pete?
With a huge game at number 10 TCU looming on Saturday, will the team's leading receiver be able to play? Jakeem Grant recovering from minor injuries received at an off-campus alumni gathering at an event center in South Lubbock County on Highway 87. In an altercation that took place 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning, multiple shots were fired outside the event center. Grant received a laceration from what investigators believe was a knife. He was treated at a hospital and released. So is he still on the team? Will he play Saturday? Here's Cliff.
Yeah, he's on the team and he's doing fine. I would expect him to play. I mean, that's not 100%, but it looks that way. As far as I know, he did receive stitches, and it appeared to be, from what I saw, under his chin area. It's not good, you know. I mean, that's not safe for our team. So kids are going to go out. It's part of the college life, but you'd hope that wouldn't happen somewhere that your players are at, obviously.
And Grant leads the team with 50 receptions for 629 yards. Tech hopes he can play on Saturday. Coming up in sports, we'll have Cliff Notes. Abner?
All right. Thank you, Pete. The first day of early voting in the November elections has come to an end. So far, about 2,400 people in Lubbock County have shown up to the polls. You'll need to show one of 7 approved photo IDs in order to cast your ballot. We have all of your voting information, including a look at each candidate, online right now. Just head on over to our website, kcbd.com.
Still to come health-wise, treating depression goes high-tech, the new option that's helping patients when prescriptions can't.
But first, ancient writings arrive in the hub city, where you can see them next. You're watching KCBD News Channel 11 at 10. South Plains residents will get a chance to see a rare exhibit at Lubbock Christian University starting tomorrow morning.
The university is hosting its 3rd annual Theological Library Lectures, and this year they will include an original fragment of the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's a collection of over 900 biblical manuscripts found near the north of the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea Scrolls date back to 1948 and contain books found in today's Hebrew Bible.
Is that when they were found, these biblical scrolls, all from the Old Testament, were 1,000 years older than current copies of the Bible.
The Dead Sea Scrolls will be on display until October 30th. The hours are Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The exhibit is open to the public and it's free of charge.
And to take a look at this, it's a one-of-its-kind bomber that flew into Baton Rouge, Louisiana today. A Boeing B-29 and a B-24 plane are on display at Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Fifi, the B-29, is the only remaining plane like it in the world that still flies. People are getting the chance to go on in and see the restored framework of the plane. It was planes like these that helped bring the United States a victory at the end of World War II.
And Abner said he would not fly in that one.
Well, it's just a little old.
A little older, yeah, I agree. Stay with us. Carrie's up next with a complete look at a cold front that would be headed our way this week.
This is KCBD News Channel 11 at 10.
Drought is dwindling on the South Plains, with most counties removed from severe categories. And while the rain is welcomed, it's also causing some concern. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Christy is in for Karen, who is off tonight.
The fall has brought an unusual amount of moisture to the South Plains, and while they're thankful for any rain, some South Plains farmers say they're hoping to see drier conditions in the near future.
KCBD News Channel 11's Taylor Langston joins us live in South Lubbock County to explain why. Taylor?
Hey there, Christy and Abner. Well, a long period of rain right now could not only damage the crop, but it could prolong the harvest. And that's why farmers are saying that they're hoping for maybe a little bit of a dry spell right here until they get ready to have that harvest. Of course, while each year brings its own unique set of challenges, the farmers are hopeful that they will have another good year this year. Christy and Abner.
Thank you, Taylor. Today's rain has officially put us above average for the year, but changes are on the way.
John has the latest outlook from the First Alert Forecast Center. Hi, John.
Hello there, Christy and Abner. As a matter of fact, rain has moved out of the South Plains. It's interesting to compare, since we're talking about the drought and how the weather pattern has been. We're going to show you some rainfall totals from the average, and for Lubbock, each on a daily basis here, or annual basis, we get 19.12. We look back to 2010, as he had mentioned there, great year rainfall-wise, a little over 26 inches. That's the most we've had since then, because 2011 is our driest year ever, 586. Then in 2012, we were up a little bit, a little over 11 inches there. 2013, a pretty good year there, at least approaching 13 inches. This year, believe it or not, thanks to the rain, the heavy rain again in September, some in October as well, we're about 1/10 of an inch above normal. So in pretty good shape there this year, with more rain likely as we go into the winter season. In the morning, fog, no rain though, 53, and then sunshine and much warmer tomorrow. Christy and Abner.
Thank you, John. Opening statements for the Lubbock trial of Thomas Dixon are now set to start on Monday. Dixon is the Amarillo plastic surgeon charged with hiring a hitman to kill Dr. Joseph Saunier here in Lubbock in 2012. Attorneys finished choosing a jury to hear the case today. Dixon faces a maximum of life in prison if convicted after the district attorney decided not to seek the death penalty. David Shepard pleaded guilty to killing Saunier last year. Detectives say, though, that Dixon paid him to do it with silver bars. Shepard is now serving a life sentence but has been returned to Lubbock to testify in the trial.
Lubbock Mayor Glenn Robertson says the proposed expansion of Interstate 27 has taken another step forward. Robertson says he will address TxDOT officials next month in Austin. He expects them to accept a plan that would extend I-27 from Lubbock to Laredo in the south and northwest to Texaco. Robertson says he has received a positive response from other city officials in West Texas and sees the expansion as a big benefit for Lubbock.
True economic development, true creation of jobs, protecting the safety of our public, and improving our infrastructure.
If officially approved, Robertson estimates the entire process could take 50 years.
Investigators in Canada say they believe today's suspected terrorist had links to radical Islam. President Obama says the U.S. will offer help to the country as the investigation continues. A Canadian soldier and the suspected gunman were killed during a series of shootings this morning in Canada's capital. The gunman has now been identified as Michael Zehoff Bibo. Authorities say he had a scarf over his face when he fatally shot a Canadian soldier standing guard at a war memorial. Not long after, investigators say Bibo ran into the Parliament building where he died during a shootout with other soldiers. U.S. officials believe today's attack looks like retaliation.
Exactly what ISIS and its propaganda has been pushing towards people to attack.
It emphasizes the degree to which we have to remain vigilant.
Investigators searched for a possible second gunman but did not find one. Here in the U.S., military officials have increased security at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington, Virginia. And security was not visibly tighter at the White House until around 7:30 tonight, our time. That's when, for the second time in 2 months, a person made it over the White House fence. Authorities say the person barely made it over before being taken down by a canine and quickly detained by Secret Service agents. A similar incident happened in mid-September. Authorities say Omar Gonzalez climbed the White House fence, walked through the front door, and into the East Room before he was tackled by the Secret Service. But just yesterday, Gonzalez was found not competent to stand trial.
One of the Dallas nurses who contracted Ebola after treating Thomas Eric Duncan no longer has any sign of the virus. Amber Vinson's family released a statement today that said as of last night, the CDC is no longer able to detect the virus in her blood. The statement also says that Vinson has been approved for transfer out of isolation. Vinson is undergoing treatment at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta. Emory officials won't comment, though, on her status. Vinson helped care for Duncan after he came to Dallas from Liberia. Duncan died at the hospital on October 8th. Another nurse there also became infected. We're told Nina Pham is in good condition tonight. Meanwhile, the NBC cameraman who was released from the hospital today talked to the media for the first time since he was diagnosed with Ebola. Oscar Mukbo offered thanks to his doctors and prayer for the people of West Africa.
I was so fortunate to receive the kind of care that I got when so many people have nothing even approximating slightly that kind of care. You know, that's a heavy feeling. I don't know if guilt is the right word, but it just feels like something isn't right about that.
So far, nearly 5,000 people have died from Ebola in West Africa. Mukbo contracted the virus while working in Liberia. Doctors gave Mukbo an investigational drug, but can't be sure if that's what cured him. He's now back home with his family in Rhode Island.
Back in Texas, the newly formed Ebola Task Force will hold its first public hearing tomorrow in Austin. Members will discuss initial identification and isolation of Ebola patients. As we told you earlier this month, a local professor is one of the members of the task force. Dr. Victoria Sutton is the director of Texas Tech Center for Biodefense, Law, and Public Policy. And we've learned today another Lubbock doctor will give testimony in tomorrow's hearing. Dr. Ron Cook is with the Department of Family Medicine at the Texas Tech Health Sciences Center. The meeting starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll keep you updated on air and online at kcbd.com.
A decision on alcohol sales is on the November ballot for voters in Seminole. If approved, the measure would allow people to purchase beer and wine in stores there. It will not allow packaged liquor sales or liquor stores. Olive Gaines County had been dry until last year when Seagraves discovered they could legally sell alcohol. That's after city leaders learned about a late 1930s vote allowing them to go wet.
In Dawson County, the early voting location will also be open this weekend. All early voting in Dawson County takes place at the elections office on the second floor of the courthouse. It will be open Saturday from 7 to 7 and Sunday from 1 to 6. In addition to state races, voters will also choose commissioners for Dawson County precincts 2 and 4. And early voting runs through Halloween, and Election Day is November 4th. You can check out candidate profiles, voting locations, and ID requirements on our KCBD mobile app. It's free to download. Just search for KCBD in your app store.
11 local teachers received special recognition tonight. They're the recipients of the 2014 Educator Appreciation Awards. The Lubbock Chamber of Commerce held a special reception for the teachers this evening. The award recognizes educators who work hard to serve students and the community. Recipients were chosen by this year's high school juniors taking part in the Chamber's New Century Leadership class. To see the names of the award winners, just log on to our website. Head over to kcbd.com.
A Plainview performer who first gained national attention on American Idol is about to get his own show. Todrick Hall was a semifinalist on Idol back in 2010. He also performed on Broadway and directed shows in Lubbock and Plainview. And starting next year, Hall will be featured on a new MTV show. It will follow him as he creates music videos, many of which are featured on YouTube.
Pretty neat. So look, health-wise, it's a procedure commonly associated with men, why women are also encouraged to have a colonoscopy.
But first, a home health care worker is surprised when her friend pays it forward. You're watching KCBD News Channel 11 at 10.